There's some alarming reporting shedding a new light on one of Congress's most radical and extreme members, the pro-Trump, QAnon-supporting Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. A CNN review of her Facebook activity shows that Greene repeatedly endorsed outlandish, dangerous conspiracy theories about Democrats and endorsed executing Democratic leaders and federal agents. NBC News has not independently verified these posts. However, a spokesman for House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy tells Axios that the posts are, quote, deeply disturbing, and that McCarthy will have a conversation with Greene about them. Back in November, McCarthy defended Greene and other newly elected extremists in his caucus after the elections, asking the media to, quote, give them an opportunity before you claim what you believe they have done and what they will do. Joining our conversation, Tim Miller, former RNC spokesperson, now a contributor to The Bulwark and our in-house monitor system of right-wing media and disinformation, and Jason Johnson, journalism and politics professor at Morgan State University and a contributor to MSNBC and The Grio. Tim Miller, I don't have to tell you, Tucker Carlson is out there defending the QAnon member and saying that we don't have a right to, I guess, government doesn't have a role in what she thinks. She's not in trouble for what she thinks. She's in trouble as a public official for what she posts and conveys on social media. Talk about what, if anything, can be done by Kevin McCarthy with the extremists in his own ranks on the day that Homeland Security issued a domestic terrorism alert about violent domestic extremists.
Yeah, Nicole, that's exactly right. This isn't thought police. This is action police. I mean, we're only 2-3 weeks past a police officer getting executed by followers of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Q and the former president of the United States. So, look, I think it's important, a quick trigger warning here for viewers, but I do think it's important to understand exactly what she was saying on Facebook. She accused former Senator and Secretary Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin of skinning the face of children and wearing the skin as a mask. It's called frazzle drip. She said that Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi were working together to plan school shootings anytime the momentum for gun control started to wane. She said that Las Vegas was a false flag. She harangued David Hogg, the Parkland survivor and March for Our Life leader, when he was a high school student a few months after his classmates died on the street corner, shouted him down, calling him Little Hitler. And this is a person that is deeply deranged, is a deep moral rot. And what has Kevin McCarthy done? He gave that quote to Axios about how he's having a talking to. Well, what are his actions? He put her on the education committee. This woman says that school shootings are a false flag that the Speaker of the House is organizing, and she's on the education committee in the House of Representatives. So look, there are things that he can do. He doesn't have to give her committee assignments. They can try to campaign against her. Matt Gaetz is in Wyoming right now campaigning against Liz Cheney because she's anti-coup. There's nobody Kevin McCarthy isn't sending anybody to Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. So yeah, there's stuff that he can do. And I don't think that people should be satisfied that just having a talking to. I think it's important that Democrats really raise the profile of this and don't let it just kind of, fall by the wayside, because we saw the repercussions of a person like this in power on January 6th.
You just said something really important I want to follow up on. I think AOC is a star, but there are a lot of Republicans who feel like her worldview doesn't represent their worldviews, and right-wing media vilified her and smeared the entire Democratic Party, including Joe Biden, with her worldview, her policy views. They are very good at taking what they perceive to be the most sort of ideologically extreme person of a caucus and smearing every member with them. I haven't yet to see Democrats embark on that endeavor, but this politician offers them a real opportunity to do that, one that doesn't exist with AOC, who I think is a very competent and productive and rising star in the Democratic Party.
Yes, yeah, sure. So obviously, you don't want to draw an equivalence between the two, and I wouldn't. But just as a political,
no, and I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Let me just be perfectly clear. The political branding. I mean, what Democrats do to Republicans is sort of paint it with a broad brush the ideological views of someone that. I mean, Joe Biden doesn't necessarily share all the same viewpoints as AOC or Bernie Sanders or anyone else. What the Democrats need to do with this member, and this isn't even about her views. She is a conspiracy theorist. She has committed some of the very same kinds of disinformation acts that today the Department of Homeland Security warned against in an almost unprecedented bulletin. She is what they're describing in the Homeland Security Department's bulletin about the worldviews of potential violent extremists who represent domestic terrorism threats. Those are the views that this Congresswoman has.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is where, from a political strategy matter, is where this is an opportunity the Democrats have to take and have a moral obligation to take. And if you're in, the Houston suburbs, like Dan Crenshaw and Chip Roy, who kind of like brand themselves as mainstream Republicans in the Houston suburbs, they need to answer for Marjorie Taylor Greene. The way that Republicans, made Democratic candidates in rural districts and exurban districts answer for the squad. Absolutely, they need to be forced to answer for that. Because why, should Dan Crenshaw and Chip Roy and other members, Kevin McCarthy, you can go down the list, be able to get away with being in a caucus and being on the same side and being aligned with a woman that is calling for executions of political leaders? Like, they need to speak out for it, or they need to own it. And I think that should be an important part of the Democratic strategy going forward. Obviously, the White House has a lot of other stuff on their plate, but the Democratic Campaign Committee should absolutely be focused on that.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.